Hi, I'm Helen Harrison. I'm the director of the Pollock Krasner House and Study Center, and recently I had a very interesting project handed to me, a manuscript that was written by the painter Robert Goodnough back in 1950 and had never been published. This guy, and actually here's a photograph of him, this is Bob Goodnough. He was someone who was involved with the Artists Club back in the 50s and was a colleague and friend of Robert Motherwell, who put together a lot of artist group discussions where they talked about the theories behind the work they were doing, developing abstract expressionism right in the early days. And Bob, because he was a student at NYU and had to do some work for his graduate degree in art, he interviewed a number of these artists who were part of the group and submitted it as a paper to his teacher at NYU. And these are first-person interviews with 7 of the artists who were in a show called The Intrasubjectivists that was held at the Samuel Coots Gallery in 1949. And Bob's paper was titled Subject Matter of the Artist. So he interviewed the 7 artists, 6 of whom were in the Intrasubjective show, and submitted the paper with these really quite fascinating personal anecdotes. He asked them about subject matter because this was abstract art. The subject matter was not evident, but there is subject matter. It's not like there was no subject. In fact, the artists insisted that the subject of their work was crucial to an understanding of what it was about. So Bob talked to them about it, artist to artist, in a very direct way. And this is what he said. He said, as a painter, and as one interested in education in relation to painting and drawing, I've become personally interested in the problem of subject matter in art. Since there's a controversy regarding this tendency in painting, research directed toward the source of ideas involved in the work, it is felt, will help make it clear what the intention of the artist is. This research will deal with the attitudes of these artists toward their own work and their relation to tradition as they express it. So it's quite revealing. It's a fascinating document of the period, and it was believed to have been lost. Bob turned in the paper. He evidently had a manuscript, but he couldn't ever find it again. And so for decades, it just was unknown. It was known that it had existed at one time, but no one knew where it was. And about 10 years ago, we did a show of Bob's work here at the Pollock Krasner House, and lo and behold, the woman who was helping us to organize the show found a copy of the manuscript. And we said, well, gee, what a great idea, let's publish it. Well, now, 10 years later, it finally came into publication. One of the editors at a small publisher in New York decided to set up her own publishing company in Chicago called Sober's Cove Press, and she contacted me and said, I think it would be a great publication in our series of artist documents. And so Sober's Cove has published it, and it includes, in addition to the unpublished paper, a couple of other items that Bob did publish, including his article called Pollock Paints a Picture, which appeared in Art News magazine in 1951. It's based in part on his interview with Pollock for the unpublished paper, and then he expanded upon it and used more information and actually came out here to East Hampton to watch Pollock at work. So he was able to write a more comprehensive study, and it's a very famous piece. It's been reprinted a number of times, but we felt that because it was based on material that he'd written for the paper, it would be appropriate to put it in this little anthology as well. And what we have are the paper itself, my editorial notes about it, and also these 2 or 3 other items that were published previously. It cost $12. And it's available here at the Pollock Krasner House Museum store. And I hope that anyone who is going to come and visit us will stop by the store and pick up a copy.